Welcome to Bougie and Boring, the spa business podcast that proves success doesn't have to be stressful. My name is Amanda Louisa. I'm a spa owner and a coach, and around here, bougie means high-end and well-paid. Boring means drama-free and simple. Together, that's how you build a spa that's smooth, profitable, and actually fun to run. Thank you so much for being here. Let's get right to it. Did you know that if you leave an iTunes review of this podcast, and in the comment of that review, if you write out a question that you have about your business, about hiring, of any type of spa related thing, I will answer that question live on my podcast. So if you are enjoying this, I would absolutely love to hear about it. Go ahead and leave a review for the Bougie and Boring podcast, and I am so happy to answer your question about your spa. Hello, spa owner. Welcome back to Bougie and Boring, a spa business podcast. This is the third part of a 5-part series that I'm doing called The First Steps to Hiring Your First Esthetician. And if you didn't know already, my name's Amanda. I am a spa owner and I have been since 2018. I have hired, and that is the main thing that I help other spa owners do, is hire their first esthetician, or really make their first hire in general. It doesn't have to be an esthetician. So this episode, like I said, is part 3, but it's actually an updated version of an episode I did last year, episode 10, all about your inbox and how to get it organized and boring so that when people do start to apply, you're not in panic mode and you don't have to drop everything to be able to know what to do next. This is the part that I feel like a lot of people miss, and it actually ends up creating so much more work and headache than it ever needs to. So as your business grows, your systems need to grow with it. And today we're going to talk about just that, because it might seem small, but your inbox will absolutely slow down your hiring process if you ignore it. So I need to say this completely upfront. You do not need to create another email address to complicate this process. There are some places that I have seen where it's like, create this brand new email address and you can send your resumes to this email address, and that way they're all in one place. But if you have a really good strategy and a really good method to how you organize your inbox every day or even every week, then you can very easily keep track of all this, and you should keep track of all of this. You just need a little bit more structure and maybe a little more guidance. So if resumes start coming in and they're buried between client confirmations or product orders or receipts or just marketing emails in general from other businesses, then you're going to feel like you're behind before you've ever started interviewing. And I don't want you to be hiring from a place of like fear, and I don't want it to be reactive. We don't do that anymore. We've leveled up. This is you 2.0, and we're stepping into a way more organized energy. And so this is going to be what it takes, right? The problem isn't that you have one email address. The problem is that everything is mixed in together with no structure and no method. So when a resume lands in the same space as all these other things, you're going to be wasting so much time searching. You forget to follow up. You might even just completely overlook someone, which is such a terrible feeling. And it'll delay so many decisions, and that just creates a lot of friction in the hiring process. It might even make it feel like you don't enjoy the process at all. And that's not what I want for you, because I want you to be able to grow. And growing pains are normal, but a lot of them are preventable. So instead of adding another inbox to manage by creating a whole new email address, we're going to take the one that you already have and make it work for you. We're going to clean it up and have it start working for you. So start off by creating folders, right? And I hope that you know how to make a folder in your inbox. I use Google. I'm a huge Google girl and I'm a big fan. So make a folder for all the things that you have. It doesn't need to be just hiring, but that's a great place to start. So I have one for resumes. I have one for job applications, and I have one for employees. So because those three things, so the applicant is basically where everyone goes. So when someone does apply with their resume, they're all going to go into that resume folder. And when that happens and I'm ready to hire, then I can jump into that one folder because I know everything is there. I can jump into that folder and I can send those people an email or I can follow up with them in any way. And so when they respond to me saying, hey, yes, I'd love to move forward in the next phase of the application process, then organize that person even farther as a job applicant, right? No matter what position they're applying for, so that as you continue to have conversations with this person or people, you can file them away. And then when they do accept your job offer, then you would file that conversation into employee. So make it make sense for you. That's what I do. And I find it to be very easy, streamlined, minimal, and efficient, right? So this becomes kind of like your hiring hub, right? Now you want to have filters on your emails, and you can do this. You can set this up in Gmail, where you can have emails that contain certain words like resume, job application. The way that I like to teach is people have to submit their resume with a particular subject line, and it will automatically move it into that folder. And it's just brilliant. Gmail will do so much for you. So now instead of digging through all these emails, you just click on one folder and you can see every single candidate in one place. So when you are creating these folders, I really encourage you to create a folder for each stage to keep things organized, right? Kind of like how I described earlier. You want to have the resumes, the job applicant, and then one for employees. The next thing I really like to do that has saved me I can't even tell you, so much time and so much headache, but that is creating templates in Google. So you can create a generic template that says something to the effect of, thank you for applying to blah blah spa. We received your application and we will be reviewing submissions, over the next 2 weeks. Or, if you're not hiring right now, which I'm not hiring right now. So mine says something like, when we are ready to hire again, we will be reaching out through this email. If you've been selected to move forward, we'll reach out to you directly. No need to follow up. We've got your information. And that is probably the most important part, because people will follow up and that just crowds your inbox again. So no need to follow up. We've got your information. Sometimes people will respond and say, thank you, I'm so excited, which is great and wonderful. But this little part, or this little auto response or template, this little template is so useful because it will reduce any follow-ups. It sets clear expectations and timelines. It elevates your brand in a more respectful and professional way. And most importantly, my dear spa owner, it protects your time. And I know you don't have a whole lot of time, but if you basically do the work once, you set up the template and you are golden. I will create templates for every single phase of the interview process. So I have both the if I want someone to move on to the next stage. So if I want to invite someone in for an in-person interview, I have that email set as a template. Or if I'm like, hey, I've decided to move forward with a different candidate, I have that whole template set as well. So I have one for each, both offer and the rejection. Email is set up as a template, and I have that for every single phase. And I mean, obviously I have way more templates for all these other things in my business, but when it comes to hiring specifically, this is the area that I have found it is so useful to do because you're already crunched for time. That's why you're hiring, right? You need the help. And so if you can, help your future self when these, resumes start coming in, then you'll thank yourself later. Trust me. So this episode, while it does have some helpful tips on how to organize your inbox, this episode is actually truly more so about having an organized, they say that when your space is organized, your brain is organized, and you can think more clearly and you can perform at a higher level. And that's what this is doing. When you have an inbox that is taken care of and cleaned up, you're then able to think clearer. You're not going to muddy up all of the little nooks and crannies of your brain with all the things that you need to do in your inbox, and you won't avoid your inbox anymore if you have been doing that. Or if you've ever done that, then you know what I mean. So this is about leadership, right? A good leader is organized and they know where things are and they know the direction that they're going. And when your back end is messy, it feels reactive, right? It doesn't feel like you're making an informed decision because you just don't know where all the data is. But when your back end is more structured and you have better organization or structure to how everything is going, it encourages you. It makes you feel confident. It makes you feel like, that is one less thing that you have to worry about, because hiring is already stressful enough. It does not need to be any harder than it already is. And it can be really fun. I actually have so much fun when I am going through the hiring process. It's really exciting. But there are things that make it exciting, right? Because you know that those things are already taken care of so that you do get to enjoy the fun parts of hiring. So your methods should make things easier, not harder. And no, you don't need another inbox to make that happen. So I hope that this episode helps. Let me know how everything goes. And if you're ready to fully streamline the hiring process so that you can grow your spot without all of the chaotic parts that come with hiring, fill out my coaching intake form. It'll be linked down below, because the goal isn't to just hire anyone. You want to hire very strategically. I've helped so many people do this, and I have a really awesome method that I use personally where I take all the applicants that you have coming through, and you can narrow it down in under 3 minutes. I've timed myself on this. In under 3 minutes, you're able to narrow down the top applicants in less than 3 minutes. And I've done this multiple times with multiple people, and it is so fun when you know what you're looking for. So try that out. Let me know how it goes, and I will talk to you in the next episode. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. If this episode gave you something to think about, please take a minute to leave a review and share with a spa owner friend. If you're ready for more support like this, I have left the link to my free 30-minute discovery call in the show notes below. I would love to learn more about you and your spa and what it is you are trying to accomplish right now in this season of life. Until next week, peace and love, my friend. I'll talk to you later.